just first coming off of the last game on Wednesday, and just from what you've been seeing from the offense, focusing on the bottom of the order, what's just been your takeaway as kind of starting the season and how those guys can get that contract?
Takeaways, bottom of the order. I think some guys are showing some life. I think as far as the bottom of the order, kind of collectively, people are trying to group them all. There's probably 6 different guys that are in that mix. I think James is showing a lot of life. I think Austin and Miguel Rojas have been fine. And then so now you're looking essentially at CT and I think Kike's been fine. And he's swinging the bat well the last week. So then you're looking at CT and Lux. And so I think for me, this year, quite a bit, Gavin's been sort of in between on that decision making. I think that he's had some good work the last few days. I think it'll trend up. And Chris right now, he's in it. So I think for me, it's we have seen this before, maybe not to this degree. Certainly there's a lot of swing and miss. No one is more prepared. No one cares. He gets big hits when we need him. But, so for me, I'm certainly not going to jump ship on 35 plate appearances given his track record. And so that's why today, for example, he's in there today versus lefty. And Muntz would typically be in there. He'll be in there against Corbin on Tuesday. But I'm trying to give Chris some opportunities. But again, the bottom third, I think if you sort of peel back the bottom third, it's a couple guys right now are the main culprits that I do think that they'll get out.
You shared with us that there's going to be certain times in which we'll see against a lefty with Rojas at third, of course, he would be at shortstop, and then Kike at second. What do you like about that dynamic with those 3 guys?
Well, I trust Kike anywhere on the diamond. And I think the credit goes to Miguel Rojas, because right now he's our best defender at shortstop. And for him to kind of play to the side of Mookie Betts to give him an opportunity to continue to get comfortable, because our best team is if Mookie continue to evolve and get better at short and still swing the bat the way he has, gives a lot of options. And so, that I like that dynamic.
With Gavin's being threatened between, how much of that just have to do with missing all of last year and time?
I think it's part of it. It's certainly you'd like to think that it would be seamless, but he hadn't played the calendar year. I don't think he's going to use it as an excuse, but just kind of the compete mode, the adjusting within at bat, the games, and taking it over and getting back in there and trying to grind and do it again. That's part of playing every day in the season, and he's missed that. So he has the skill to control the strike zone, get fastballs, and then manage the secondary. So that's something that you got to continue to give guys opportunities to do that.
What were Lux and CT doing in the spring when you guys liked what you saw from their swings that just hasn't translated to this point?
Well, in spring training, there's just not as much scouting. That's just the facts. Pitchers are trying to get their work in. In Gavin's particular case, he was on the fastball, and they throw a lot of heaters in the spring. And then now they're throwing a lot of secondary pitches. So that's the cat and mouse of baseball. And with CT's particular case, I think he was in a better spot mechanically. He was covering a lot of pitches, as I recall, in spring training, and right now he's not. So I think for him, it's just getting into compete mode. And not an easy arm tonight, Manea. He's got a good fastball, he's got a sweeping breaking ball, so it's not going to be easy, but I think for me, it's just at some point you just got to get to compete mode. And he drove and run the other night with a sac fly, which was good. That's what I see.
With Chris, when he does get out of things mechanically, is it obvious when it happens? Is it more like over a period of time when things start going sideways? Kind of how do you see that when he does get in these ruts?
With Chris, I think over the course of my time with him, it happens pretty quickly, actually. sort of comes and goes. And then when it's here, it's really good, and he's hitting anyone and getting big hits, and when he's not, it's to the contrary. So we got to kind of get him back.
With Yoshinobu, it's obviously small sample size, but have you guys been able to identify why he maybe had a little bit of a first inning in his paper in 7 innings?
No, not really. I understand. I know he knows the value of the first inning and putting up the 0, and that actually goes with a lot of our starters. Yeah, I don't know the answer yet. So I'd like to think, because I've seen the velo in the first inning, so I don't think it's a feeling himself into the game. But even talking to Kershaw, I've talked to Clayton over the years, and that first inning for a starting pitcher is that you get the butterflies and you want to make sure your stuff is there. You don't know what your stuff is that particular night. That's why that first inning is pivotal. So, we don't have it nailed yet with Yoshinobu or let alone any of our pitchers, but it's going to be important to put up the 0 tonight. It is.
How would you assess Yamamoto overall so far?
Overall good. I think he's done a very good job of, outside of that first one in Seoul, of minimizing damage, of competing. I think there's, of the innings that he's thrown, I would say less than half, he's had his complete mix of stuff and command layered in. So to his credit, he's finding ways to get major league hitters out. So, now we need to kind of add in the efficiency in that first inning to give us a chance for some length, and then now put up some 0s, and then it's going to be really fun.
What reports did you get from Walker last night? What sort of mix up with?
I'm anxious to talk to him. I haven't talked to him yet. Certainly, there were some walks in there. Got the pitch count up and down 3 times. So my expectation he'll make another one on Wednesday somewhere, whether it's with that AA club or the AAA club.
What do you want to ask him about?
That's all right. For me, that talking to him.
How has he just kind of looked execution wise on the
Not
ball
great.
during this?
Not great.
Was it something you can?
So Landon Knack gets at least
Landon will
one-
get another start. Yeah.
What's missing, I guess, from Walker that you want to see?
Command.
Dave, how concerning is that for you?
Not concerning. He hasn't pitched in a long time. But, when you're on the heels of pitching for us, you got to be good too.
You expect him to dial in a little bit more?
I do.
Before?
I do expect him to dial it in, yeah.
Do you think there's a reason?
I don't know the reason. We'll find out. I'll talk to the pitching guys. But, we're on the precipice of him getting back with us and finishing out the season. So, we'll catch up for sure.
Is it something where you just kind of need to see like one outing where he puts it all together, or is it a place where you need to still see a bigger sample size?
No, I think one out would be sufficient. Yeah. We just got to kind of build them up. We got to get there.
And then are Bobby and Emmett any closer to throwing again yet?
Emmett's going to throw next week, sometime middle of the week. And then Bobby is going to stay back when we're on the road. And he'll start playing catch soon as well. So it should be sometime, I think, this series, this weekend, he'll start playing catch, if I'm not mistaken.
Anything with Heyward?
Jason is going to stay back when we're on the road. Potentially we'll see us in Arizona. But I don't think I'm not sure what he's doing as far as baseball activities. And, I do expect a rehab assignment to some extent. I don't know when that's going to start. Certainly we've got some boxes to check before we get to that point. But he is feeling better. Yesterday was a better day for him, as I understand.
And Treinen through again yesterday?
Yeah, Blake threw yesterday. We'll throw again Saturday. And then, then he'll go out on rehab. And then, at that point in time, he'll be a viable option.
And he's got to go through all the spring training back-to-backs.
Somewhat. He's already done it. This Saturday will be the 2 out of 3. And then it'll be the back-to-back. And then at that point in time, I think it'll be a real conversation.
Graterol, nothing going there.
Graterol threw a pen yesterday. see, it was 17 pitches, and so that's where he's at. So I think that there's going to be some lives that need to be had. So I think Brusdar is certainly weeks away.
Get a rehab.
And the rehab, correct.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, guys.